Any other discussion on DHS 110? Okay. New business number 2, discussion on employee vehicle policy. Rick, do you want to discuss that, or?
I don't really know. I think it's maybe.
This is the employees.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Who wants to chime in on that?
Wayne, I think this is you.
So, hi, I'm Wayne. We were trying to find some different incentive ways that we can be incentivized to maybe not necessarily take raise or something along those lines.
Wayne, can I?
Yeah.
I'm going to jump in for 1 second and put an umbrella on this and hand it back to you.
Perfect.
I've been here 8 years. In the 8 years or 8.5 years that I will have been here, I've had DPW come and ask for things, I think 0 times. And in that time, we've had a healthy amount of turnover. I think it's a fair way to describe it. Adam has stayed the same. Rick has stayed the same. Mike's come and gone and come back again 1 time, so we're glad to have Mike here as a part of the overall team. But the rest of the team has shuffled over that time period, and the consistency between the ones that have stayed here through thick and thin, or those that have come and gone, is that you've got in Adam and Mike and Rick guys that were born here, grew up here, went to high school here, are long-standing entrenched members of the community. And then in all of the rest of your employees, you've got employees that enjoy working here. They may live here now, they may not live here immediately now, and this is both a community that they work in, play in, dine and shop in, but they don't have the same memories of being a 5-year-old playing on the old cannon in the park, right? So what we've consistently tried to do is adjust the wage rates up to at least be on par with other communities. Sometimes we hit that, sometimes we don't. And I would tell you that in my time here, we've had folks leave over a 15-cent an hour difference in wage rates, because the county is always a bigger employer that provides the exact same retirement system and a comparable health insurance program. So hey, 15 cents is worth the job change. In 8 years ago, it wasn't as much of a concern, because you had a Rick and a Mike and an Adam that had a lot more career in front of them. Rick's got a few years left, don't know how many, but a lot less in front of him than he's got behind him. And Mike's got a lot less in front of him than he's got behind him. And Adam's got a lot less in front of him than he's got behind him. So all 3 of your most senior, most knowledgeable employees about your institutional systems are aging up. And so as we have conversations with the next generation down about, hey, how do we keep this stable for you so that you don't want a job hop and you're not interested in moving? The conversation about non-cash compensation came up. Now I'll hand it back to you.
So, non-cash compensations, we figured some ideas out for kind of foreman level employees and up to take home a company truck or a village truck. The benefit of, it doesn't really cost us a whole lot to let them have the truck to go home and take it and come back. Gives them a transportation that's just easy, or just a perk that kind of sweetens the pot for people to stay and enjoy. I came from private sector myself. I had a company truck that I got to bring home all the time. Loved it, enjoyed it. Don't have it no more, but story of the life. But I know that some of the guys here have been talking, and they really do value that take-home truck. And I think it costs like 62 cents a mile to take the truck home, which is minimal. So that's kind of the idea behind that. It's just kind of a perk to sweeten the pot for some of the guys that maybe not be separated from other guys in pay.
So is this the whole department here?
No, you've got a few of them not here.
Yes.
Or-
Well,
This is
Two
2, 4,
summer
5 out of
employees.
9.
Yeah.
And they're all full-time?
1 of the 9 is part-time.
And then you've got, you count the 2 summer employees in that.
I did not.
Yeah, it's on 11. Seasonal.
Some are full-time, some are part-time.
Well, you had mentioned foremen, so how many foremans are
We
there?
have 2 foremen.
And are you wanting this for just the foreman? I mean, it sounds like the foremen have it now. Are you looking for?
No, the foremans don't have it currently.
Oh, so that's what you're looking for.
That's what we're asking, is foreman level and above to get it. No one, like myself, I'm a water operator, DPW guy. I wouldn't take a truck because I'm not a foreman or a lead or anything like that. But like John and Adam, they would be able to take a truck home because they have maybe the titles that allow
Are
that.
these trucks interchangeable? Like, do you use a truck for a specific purpose? You know, like
All the trucks are universal that we have. We do have trucks that have lift gates, which we have 4 of them. They do have the function to, if you need to like put a heavy pallet on the trucks, you can take a pallet jack, put the gate down, put it on side, bring it up, push it to the truck. So yeah, we have 4 trucks that have lift gates, but most of them are just pickups with regular tailgates.
what happens if somebody takes it home and then they have a family emergency and we need the truck? Then what happens?
There's a few things. We have plenty of trucks. We don't necessarily need that particular one, depending on what the situation is. Like, if Adam takes home a truck and it has a lift gate, we still have 3 other trucks that have lift gates. All the specialized vehicles, like the back truck or boom truck or brine truck, plow trucks, none of those would go home. It would just be a pickup, and potentially with a lift gate.
Are there tools or equipment kept on these trucks that
Minimal.
somebody might need, like, you know, let's say Adam takes it home and then something happens and he's gonna be gone for 3 days, but there's tools on there that we might need
The
for
two
an
trucks.
emergency that comes up.
The 2 trucks
These are
that
things that, you know, I'm just
Mhm.
thinking outside the box here that bring concerns for
yeah,
me.
for sure.
I don't
The
think
2
that's out of the box. I think it's spot on. Good questions.
hand tools, pipe wrenches, pry bars. That's about the most that's on these trucks. Hand hooks for pulling manholes to check sewers and pull lids for your water valves. Simple stuff that most of these trucks already have.
How many trucks do we have? know we
I
always
want to
say-
say 8 or 9
Yeah, I'm.
Right.
that are non-specialized.
Let's get the, Rick's doing the tally over there.
Yeah, I'm trying to
You'd be the guy that
think
knows.
because
Do
we.
we have enough trucks that everybody could have one if they needed to?
So I think that's where my question goes. Let's get a number back here.
Yeah, no, we don't have. On today, I took the brine truck around because everything else was
Out.
out.
Okay.
The brine truck. Now, if that would have been out brining, then I would have gotten my personal vehicle to do what I need to do.
In the summers, we have 2 part-time guys, Mark Collins, another 3, Tyler now 4. We have Wyatt as a part-time guy, and Greg's another full-time guy. I mean, it's just so in the summers, it's a different story. There's no trucks available in the summer. I take my personal vehicle all over the place, mostly by choice because I like having my tools with me, but we do not, in my opinion, have enough trucks.
How would that work seasonally?
What's that?
You got how many trucks, Rick?
I'm still figuring it out.
Do you get reimbursed for your mileage when you use your personal vehicle?
I don't. I do it as my own choice. I mean, so I don't. If I go,
Submit for mileage reimbursement.
I in the future I'll be buying a better vehicle than I have, so I probably won't be doing this forever. I'd rather see if I'm going to meetings and things, I don't need a pickup truck. I could just take my own car down here to the village hall. It's a mile away.
I think part of the challenge of that thought process is the exact same challenge that we ran into with fire and EMS, right? Which is, hey, we had very well-meaning people that subsidized the system for a number of years, and when then one or more of those key players left the system, you've got this giant vacuum, and you've got all these unaccounted for expenses that you just didn't know you had, and so there was no buffer time to really think it through or plan for. So I would tell you, pretty pleased with sugar on top. Submitting those mileage reimbursements so that at least it shows up on the number somewhere, and you're fairly compensated for for your mileage.
Does that work for the electeds? I think I put on 25,000 miles last
It
year.
it does when you're going to meetings and stuff.
That's all I ever do.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I'm just joking.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I just do it.
Since COVID, I have
I
not
just-
submitted
Yeah.
anything.
I do need a new minivan, so maybe I will start submitting.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm joking.
So my question is the reason that we don't have the vehicles that people need and they're using their personal vehicles is because we're not scheduling the vehicles or kind of looking ahead to see what we need for the next day, or is it just?
You have had no comprehensive plan to manage your assets, and from the time that I've got here, it's been about trying to get a plan in place and always losing the battle with time. You were doing touch meter reads up until a year ago.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
June.
So what that meant was one guy or two guys or three, whatever the system was, had to get a digital device and walk around to everybody's meter, find it, and touch it, which meant in the snow and in the rain and in the whatever. And you're talking about like 90 man hours per quarter to go around and do that. Okay, great. When we got ARPA money, we invested in a central read system. Now, hopefully that's all bugs worked out. We push a button and it says, boom, we're reading all the water meters. Cool, we get to take that time and vehicle investment and invest it in other areas. That doesn't mean everything was being done at that time. There are lift stations that need maintenance. You got a well that the village has had notification for at least 12 years that you're pumping radium out of the ground and you needed to change that out. The solution to pollution was dilution, right? We'll just run these wells harder, but depending on where you are in the system, you got more or less radium in your water coming out of the wells that you have. So there are leadership responsibilities that electeds and appointeds just have to face down, and sometimes that means going to your coffee clutch and saying, hey guys, I'm really sorry, but we gotta raise taxes, because that's just a solution to it.
So, and I get to me that's a bigger picture. What I'm talking about is day to day. So we know that we have certain people that need to go here tomorrow to fix this, do this, and are we assigning vehicles so that
So,
everybody has a
Does the
vehicle?
on-call
No.
person for, you guys still do rotations, what, like every 5 weeks on the water, right? Do they take a vehicle home in case, they're on call for the weekend, or no?
Yeah.
I mean, is it something that maybe we could look at trying to implement that
I think that would be.
for a trial period to
That would
see
be,
how it
and
manages?
I was gonna wait to see what all came out.
And I-
My suggestion would be.
Before I go there, though, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, before you finish, my other concern is the liability. What liability does the village have because you're taking a vehicle maybe outside of the village?
I don't know that you have any more legal liability or less liability.
Be no
It's
different
essentially
than running,
a-
It's
Yeah, it's
your
insured.
employee.
Yeah,
It's
side.
one
Quarantine to
thing
get
when the
parts.
employee decides to
It's
do
something
drugs
that
or
has to be
drink, and
announced, though,
That's a
you know.
criminal thing.
But go ahead, Rick, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. My suggestion is, going over this, I have some notes that need cleaning up. Would be a trial period on a minimal basis, meaning if John is gonna watch the roads tonight, he can take a truck home. If the on-call guy, I gotta be careful on how many trucks we leave out. The on-call person makes the most sense to take a truck home. Because wells, lift stations, water mains, you have everything on that van that you need for that. I'd like to do a trial, clean this up a little bit, do a trial and see how that works. And maybe like this week, for example, is nothing is supposed to happen for weather. It doesn't need to go home. On the weeks that we're gonna be switching, and see how that goes. See if it becomes a problem, if there's a truck not there. One thing that wasn't in here that after going through it, vacations or days off, that vehicle really should be back here.
Well, yeah.
And not left at somebody's home for a week or whatever it is. So I'm in the middle on this. I'd like to do maybe a trial and see how it works out. I understand, the benefits of it for these guys.
Where are the vehicles kept now? Are they inside,
they're at our shop.
outside?
They're at our shop.
In,
inside.
indoors, outside? I mean, because those are the other things. Elements. Are you able to keep it in the same elements that we would have here?
And not only
For
that, the
wear and
tools-
tear and
tools on it
tools.
that could be stolen.
Right.
I mean, are they
All of
locked
those-
on the truck, or are they just?
Not really. They're in the
Okay.
back boxes, but
I
Part
know
of-
you have an
part of
item on
this-
here, yeah, and that's
Yeah.
one of the things I had a question on, not to talk about the policy right now, but it did say that it had to be stored in like a secure
Secured.
location, and I was kind of questioning that because, I don't know who would have a secure location. I'm thinking of a bigger truck, but if it's a pickup and it's got tools on it, I would think it would have to be in a locked garage.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
and
they're
I think
single cab pickups.
yeah, I think that they both have an area to do that.
But on call, I mean, you're all are on call, right? No?
I'm not.
Who goes on call?
The
It's
operators.
water operator. It's a rotating.
Well,
Between
plus
five.
salting,
Well, yeah, but
right?
that's me, and then John watches roads till 10 o'clock at night, and I'm overnight.
Okay.
And then
What
for-
happens if you or John are gone? Somebody else
Adam
fills in? Okay.
Or we work with the town,
And Pete at the county.
and we have
And
our
then
own
they-
little network.
Right.
So I think there's a broader question that needs to be asked. Is just, you ask better questions, you get better answers, which is, why is this a conversation? Right, like how is it that the concept of non-cash compensation came up? Why is this a dialogue right now? What's there? And so each of us around the table looks at life through our own particular lens. We have houses that we bought for particular strike prices. We have retirement plans that we've invested in at certain rates and gotten certain rate of returns on. We have a health status that's of a certain level. We have a family status. It's whatever that is for everybody. And so we all bring all of that to the table for conversation. And in my, I don't know, 15, 17-year career now in city management, I've never seen as much change. I don't think anybody else could say that they have either, as we've seen in the last 5 years, right? All compressed into this super dense time period. If you'd have said, hey Z, on your bingo card, did you have, we're gonna go and snatch a foreign leader out of their bed over the weekend, like that didn't show up on my bingo card. So the world continues to change rapidly. I don't know what tomorrow will bring, but I'm excited to turn on the news and see what craziness is out there. This conversation's coming up because it's being driven by broader challenges. This didn't come from our older employees, this came from our younger employees, and they're looking at specific life challenges. How the settlement on, hey, let's just look at the foreman, that may be the conversation today, but I would suspect inside of 36 months, the conversation will become, okay, how do we empower all of our employees to do the exact same thing? As town manager for the town of Exmoor, we had take-home trucks. Every guy wanted their own single cab pickup truck, and they drove said single cab pickup truck home. It was a peninsula, Atlantic Ocean on one side, Chesapeake Bay on the other. You couldn't go real far, right? So the guys didn't live in town. It was like out of town wasn't that far away. That was one of the take-home perks for them. Exmoor, Virginia is not Waterford, Wisconsin. You have a very concerned public, and if somebody had asked me 10 years ago that I think I'd have citizen journalists sitting at a table filming meetings, no, that wasn't on the radar, right? We've just had a guy in Minnesota supposedly blow open a whole scandal on federal misappropriation of funds by private businesses. So it's a different world. I've gotten complaints from residents to that end on our firefighters and our EMTs taking ambulances or engines to pick and save here within the village to pick up groceries for their lunch or their dinner. That's a routine practice no matter what community you go to. Your public safety personnel pick up whatever they're going to pick up at the local grocery store or local restaurant, and they take it back to the station, they eat it. It's not just 1 or 2 phone calls I've gotten about that. So as I discussed this with the guys, my real concern about it was, how do you all deal with the social media challenge of this? And is this the right solution to the problem that we're facing? And the answer is, I don't know. I don't know if this is the right solution. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Maybe a trial is what you need to do. How will you all as individuals field the question about why you decided to provide that for employees? You're going to get some well-meaning member of the public who will say, well, I don't get a take-home truck, because they look at it from their particular vantage point. When they say that, it's because they want you to look at the problem these guys face through the lens of the lowest common denominator member of your society. right? I have, it's almost always a single woman who's on a fixed income, who's in her 70s or 80s. I'll get a few of them a year that call me up and say, Zeke, I can't afford my utility bill. You raised utility bills, let's call it $35 a quarter in order to balance out your budget this year. That bill comes next quarter. We will get phone calls next quarter from everybody because their rates went up. That was a policy decision from the village board. At the same time, we're now contemplating a take-home truck. How does that conflict and jive with the overall public perception of things? You need to keep good quality guys. And I tell you, my whole time here, I mean this genuinely, you haven't had a better crew than what you have now in terms of work product and execution and outcome. It's, thanks to leadership and line level employees all the way around. Maybe it's the right thing, maybe it's not. I think you need to ask more questions about it. I think that where the truck is allowed to be driven is an important part of the conversation. Is it just from home to work and back and forth, or is it open policy? You can go to Menards and pick up 2x4s or not. How is the truck going to be driven?
Who do you let on the truck? All of a sudden, I'm going
Right.
to pick up my kid from school.
Right.
On the
Right.
way. Yeah.
Do we get to a point that every employee has a take-home truck? Because again, within 3 years, I don't think inflation goes away based on the policy conversations we're seeing in Washington D.C. Hey, thanks for taking over Caracas. Maybe we get cheap oil for a little bit, but probably going to run those printing presses a little more to solve some problems. Probably leads to more inflation, leads to more conversations. You don't have Act 10 presumably to protect you 36 months from now. How will you have those conversations with a union rep? Okay.
So also, like with the truck and the guys taking them home, if we did just do a trial and error with just the titles, it would save a lot of questions from people that don't have titles. Okay, we're doing this because they are in these roles. You're not in that role, so you don't get a truck. With that being said, when they come in the next day for work, those trucks are going to be available for everybody to use. It's not going to be like those trucks are tied up 24/7, 365.
Could I throw out a problemless alternate or a minimally problematic alternate? How many miles away are you from the village?
7.
Okay, so we've got 7 miles times 2 gives us 14 times 5 days a week is 70 miles a week times 52 weeks a year is 3,640 miles times federal mileage rate 0.62 is $2,256 in equivalent cash value. You could write a check for some dollar amount that looks something like that. And now you've got no public recourse about I saw the truck at XYZ location, or John decided to have a drink at Spanky's on the way home, and just the one, and he was there a whole hour, and so no concern about blood alcohol level, right? And you just write a check. That's an alternate.
I gotta start submitting my mileage
You do.
after you start doing the math here.
You do. It adds up. Woo.
That's if every person is taking a truck home. But that's not what.
No, that's just John.
That's just John.
That's one person, right? So
Well, yeah.
you've got a request for 2 right now, and so okay, great. That pencils out to $4,500 over a year, right? Okay, so what's the oldest truck in the fleet?
96,
Yeah.
Yeah, the old fire truck.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a '96. What's the newest truck in the fleet?
2025,
How much is a new truck?
60, 70.
Yeah, it was 67,
Last one's
832,
on
something. I remember
Well,
seeing
that was
How many
plow
cents?
truck.
Yeah.
A pickup
nice
truck
truck.
that you would get with the lift gate on it
Yeah.
and no plow, you're talking probably 50 to 60,000. That's what it was. The last
A
one we
Chevy?
got, huh?
Is it Chevy?
Yeah, it was 61,000. I
Okay.
just looked it up.
Okay.
So this request is because you want some non-monetary incentives, right? Some
Well, part of it-
non-monetary rewards.
Part of it is too being on fire calls. Like last night, I went out at 11:30 last night, but I have to go to the department to grab my bunker gear, then go to the scene. So I'm already 10 minutes behind, where I can have my bunker gear in a truck and go straight to the scene. Because I have young kids, I don't want bunker gear, fire gear
Yeah.
with my 4-year-old daughter, because there's God knows what
All
on it.
sorts of
So
people.
yeah, so that was part of the reason why this was partly for a fire stand with Adam, because he's a firefighter. Was you can have your stuff with you, saves time, kind of like 2 kill kill a bear with two,
A water main break.
Yeah.
You can go straight there with the truck, figure
Yep.
out what you need, who you need, start calling people in. You're there
I
quicker.
like the idea of the on-call, I mean, personally, because I see that.
I mean, having a volunteer fire, personnel, and then you're not able to get there with your gear on is really
But I can do it, I just gotta do it
unfortunate.
on a personal vehicle. I just have to go
Yeah.
to the station, grab all my
Yeah.
bunker gear, then I have to go in my truck to the scene. Like I said, just take some more time.
That makes a
So
lot of
when-
sense.
When
So-
you're on call for fire, do you have certain days? Is it every day? Is it-
24/7, 365.
Okay, so it's
Whenever
kind of a
Zeke,
pain
same
to
with
take
Zeke,
your
Rachel,
bunker
Adam.
gear out of the truck every day and haul it
Yeah.
home. I don't know how heavy it is. But
Yeah, but I don't want to take it
My
home
stuff's
and
sitting
then
right over here.
in and out.
Right, I mean, if you go lift it, it's sitting right in the office there. It's, 35 pounds, 40 pounds, something like that.
And there's 6 of you currently that are doing that on-call?
Five on call for water operator, sewer operator.
For fire too?
No, it's a whole different system than animal. It just happens to be the overlap with some of these guys. So on-call is a reference to water operators.
Oh, so sorry. I
Yeah.
meant like but the fire part. Was the fire part 24/7? Or do you mean the
They're-
water was?
I don't do water sewer. I just do streets and.
They're on day shift when they are on duty working for the village, and then independently they're picking up on call
Mhm.
based on whatever Rosie's got going on within the department or just availability. Hey,
But
there's
that's 6 people that are DPW and fire.
three.
2 that are responding to Waterford.
Oh, okay.
Fire?
When I went through the budget, it looked like 6. That's what I'm asking.
You got one,
And
two,
how
three.
many that are on
3.
call? How many operators?
We got 5 water operators. John, he's on fire. I was looking at doing pumper operator to assist with fire, but the cards just haven't played out correctly.
So 5 operators, 1 is also fire.
Correct.
3 are also fired. You've got 3 folks that are serving on the fire department within the DPW.
But are they all operators?
Oh, you got Tom, yeah,
Yeah.
Tom McJohn.
2 operators, 1. I'm not.
Yeah, 2 operators, water operators.
Like you said, they're not responding all the time, but they could.
Right.
I mean, as it like how it looks to the village, I feel like that's a strong
You have any
selling
input,
point.
Mike?
I have 2 questions, either before or after you. Before you.
Go ahead.
First one would be, do you feel this would cause any issue amongst the other staff that would not have this benefit, even though they're not foremen?
I could see individuals that would probably have a problem with people with titles taking trucks home. There's always that.
Yeah, you guys say, but I mean, I think that's manageable to work through. I mean, like, that's not gonna cause somebody to be like, I'm gonna leave this department, or can't work with you. I mean,
Anything can happen, to be honest. I mean, I can't say, hey, no one's gonna
Yeah.
do that, but I would think that most of their guys are pretty level-headed to understand the chain of command and the
Okay.
reason why we're selecting that.
okay. And then the other question is, what trucks are we talking? This is your choice. This is the newest down. This is the oldest. Like, how has that been talked about? Who's taking what truck home if this happens?
We've kind of just take the same truck every day, just for. I take the flatbed honestly because I can put stuff on the back that I have to use, and takes a pickup truck with the liftgate because stuff that benefits him that doesn't benefit me. So we've been doing.
Okay.
So
Kind
an
of that
example,
way.
Adam would be the 86 2595 Chevy 3500, and then John, he was thinking the 2011 F-250.
Yeah, I just didn't know if there was any, method to why it was what truck or
Just whatever we use during the
Okay.
day, kind of already.
Okay, that's all I
Alright,
was
here's
curious.
another question. Adam, don't you do duties with Rochester as well?
I do, yeah. Not that I
So-
would use that truck for that.
That's my point though.
Right, yeah.
What if you had to go to an emergency situation there?
Can I ask just a follow-on question, and let's ask Mike what thoughts Mike has. Adam, all things being the same, right, and kind of getting into the back end part of the conversation that, maybe folks were here for, right, I just presume, hey, there's conversation behind the scenes going, hey, we hear from Zeke about the village's financials and what we have or we don't have. We just heard a conversation about having too many full-timers within EMS and having to deal with that. You've got a $350,000 fiscal deficit, right? That's got to be contended with. What does that mean? So I think that ended up in some creative conversations about non-cash compensation. Hey, how do we create some incentive program without necessarily outlaying dollars for that? So there's sort of three costs, if you will, around that one that are not, one of them is an immediate at the point of service consumable, which is gasoline and the oil changes associated with the truck. So that is a cash out, but it's going to be, you know, whatever that is. And then there's the cost of capital depreciation, which is what the 62 cents a mile figures out. It's cost of operation plus cost of depreciation, 62 cents a mile. IRS says that's a pretty good number. That's not necessarily a specific number for a light duty pickup truck. It's a number across the entire fleet. I think if you're just figuring light duty pickup truck, probably ends up being a little bit more than that, but good enough number for our purposes. If cash weren't the consideration and you weren't trying to be creative, would you rather have a vehicle or cash? John and Adam.
Depends on how much cash.
$2,300.
Truck.
Truck. Okay.
Yeah, I would agree.
Same as the wear and tear on my truck too, though. And like I said, going to fire calls and all the other stuff that goes with it. So.
Okay. What is the number when it becomes cash versus truck?
I don't know.
Okay. Should figure that number out. So I think it's a useful conversation for them.
See, isn't this the same group that we're gonna be talking about on the next agenda item?
Yep.
Okay, so doesn't that all play together then?
Certainly could. This one's just kind of a unique standalone that in their minds is not applying to all the employees generally. The next one is applying to all the employees generally. You gonna move on to the next item?
That's not my decision, but we were saying that the truck applies to just the people in this room. I thought there were,
Just two. Foreman and up.
well, it would apply to more if we're talking about on-call people, right?
Our idea is just for the foremans.
Rick's idea was for the on-call guy. Correct.
Mike? I don't think we heard from you yet.
Well, I kind of mentioned before, I don't think we have enough trucks that are good, and probably everybody here would agree with that. We're getting better with better trucks here around here. We could always use more. My personal opinion, this is all, nobody discussed this with me at all. I agree with Rick 100%. From the DPW standpoint, I think it's better off if you're gonna give compensation in the vehicle, it should go to the on-call people. For example, John's a streets guy. If a tree goes down in the street, you need John to come out and cut it up. But John's at home with his two little babies. He can't come. The on-call, we're paying a guy on-call. The village residents are paying a guy on-call every week, and they're paying him extra to be on-call. And those, if anybody should have a truck, you should spread it out between more people to get that benefit than just one. Now, the fire department, that's a great, you know, I didn't even hear about that till now. So, I don't even understand that with the gear and all that. I'm not a fireman, anything like that. So, set aside the fire department, I can understand that. I think if you're gonna give that benefit, it should be shared with the group. It's just having everybody share in that group, the on-call people that have to get up in the middle of the night to have a truck. It's a shared benefit, not just the two foremen. And say you're on a fire call, you're on vacation. There's a lot of questions I think that I'd like to hear about. You take Friday off, that truck, does that stay at your house Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
It would then, yeah, if I took Friday.
And then, you know, we do a lot of weekend work in the parks. On Mondays, we have sometimes 3 trucks down there. And we're actually have budget for more people, more fall help. There's a lot going on here. I think taking 2 trucks out of commission on weekends, probably not a good idea. But 1 maybe for an on-call guy, and then you get to take it a week, you get a benefit of it. I think personally, you guys work hard, you should be compensated fairly, and you should get a benefit. We have a great crew. Nobody's, a little bit of time I've been here, this is the best crew I've ever seen. I don't know if that's the best compensation method to me with the trucks that we have.
Can I go back to depreciation for a minute?
That was another question I had.
So
Just found out about
you all seem to have picked out trucks. I don't know what truck is what. What's the oldest truck we have is 1996. What's the next oldest truck?
2005.
Okay.
What's the
The
silver
old
one? Oh yeah.
Okay.
We have a yellow van that's a 97, I
So
believe.
Do
both,
they have a ton of miles on them, or?
Fire trucks.
In real life, no. But they sit and idle, and the 2005, when it goes down the road, you can look in the mirror and watch the box go like this on the back of it. I mean, it's
so the point I was getting at is if you take a 2025 and you put it on the road for that purpose, you really are depreciating a much more valuable asset versus if you take the 1996, and while it's not fully depreciated off of our books, it has a nominal value on the books, right? Which is, I don't know, $2,500, $3,500 or something. So if you make those the take-home vehicles, the response is something like, look, man, these are kind of the goats of the vehicle fleet, and you know what do you really lose overall? Which is, well, eventually it's going to die. You get into rebuild or not rebuild. It's just a thought that I had as we're sitting here, which is like, well, what if you send the oldest stuff home?
I'm just wondering if sometimes the oldest one isn't the one, though, that maybe you need a certain truck, and that oldest one is not the truck you need
So
to do your job.
the oldest one. We'll take the fire truck out of it because that's got the brine on, so that is really not relevant. The next one is that 2005. I don't know if I would. It's great for around the village when it's going 25 miles an hour. I don't know if I would
send it. Okay.
As I'm saying, we don't have a lot of good trucks. And the two good trucks are going for 3-day weekends.
So this conversation
I don't
overall
think you can do that. I don't think, I think if this is something that would be done, that they would have to be back at start of business the next day. And if they can't be, they don't go home, because if you are out the vehicles, and I'm not saying we would do this, I'm just saying, I think there's some things you need to think about in the policy.
That's what I'm saying, yeah, I think it's-
So could
When
we-
all shifts, do they begin at the same time? Are they staggered? You know, that's another question. Because
Mostly,
do we need that truck at 5 in the morning? Or is it okay if it doesn't come in until 9? Because somebody's, you know, got a dentist appointment or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, those are all things that would have to be discussed and ironed out.
Mostly our schedules are 7 to 4:30. There may be some variance of that schedule, being if we get called in for plowing or emergencies, stuff like that. But typically the schedule is 7 to 4:30. So everybody has that same thing. People that don't have the same thing, they come in or they have PTO or something, they have a different schedule. But
Can I ask one, like, John, we're gonna pick up Aubrey, and that was a father too. But now, if somebody like Wyatt wants to use your truck, and you know, I don't want him, he's gonna get my truck dirty.
Yeah.
And that, my whole thing of the whole thing, you guys heard me say this before, is I think all our trucks should be used as needed. We're all a team, we all work for the same thing. The pickup trucks, you know, we have the specialty trucks, the bucket truck, the pickups trucks should not be assigned to any person. And if this does happen, when you do have them in the shop, if there's only one lift gate available, then, you know, or somebody might have to use your truck, you're gonna have to take the car seat out, or whatever you gotta do. It's those kind of issues I think we should all address this before we decide on this, because I think you're really assigning a permanent truck to a person.
And I think you have to look at personal use, that's a big question, because especially if you're adding somebody into the truck who's not on the DPW department, and then we're looking at what's the liability there. So, and then
You have to sign off on that. You can't do that. That would be part of the thing that says you will not allow anybody in that truck.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, then there
For
shouldn't be a car
example.
seat in it then.
So there
Right.
might be some inconvenience, and when you look at, like Zeke said, you know, you see your taxpayers out there watching somebody stop at wherever on the way home. You know, me as a taxpayer, I'm gonna look at that and go, wait a minute, you know, where I could see somebody on call, you know, if there's a water main break, I'd want them getting right there and not having to go get a truck, come this way and then go all the way back that way. It would seem to make sense, but I think there would have to be some real boundaries around
John,
it.
forgive me, but doesn't Rosie have you sign up like for availability for different shifts?
No.
Because that's what I thought
Wouldn't it be for
they were
full-time,
supposed to
wouldn't
That's
do.
what's in your manual, that is not what is occurring.
Oh.
I have tried to get
So
that to happen
again,
for a year.
policies and procedures that
I'm
aren't being.
asked by, like, so say Bailey texted me the other day and goes, we're short staffed, we have 2 for an engine, can you help? Because you have to go out with 3. So I
Right.
said yes, that was the whole reason of going out. To any call that happens outside of work and during work was to help her out But usually how it works is that they'll text you or call you and say, are you available to help?
There's an
We're
active
short-staffed.
system that pings it out to all of us, and if you're around, you go. Active.
So what's
Here's-
the thought process here? Do you guys wanna work on this and bring it back to
I
us?
think that's what should happen, is the guys
Because
should go back,
it
taking
seems
the
to me that
input.
we have a lot of questions that you guys haven't really thought about
So or
either.
can we do maybe Adam, because he's a supervisor, get a truck and then do one on-call truck, because he goes out 9 times out of 10 anyway to a call. So drop mine, do
Oh.
Adam one, and then do one
I
on-call one.
don't think that's the conversation. Right
Well, I'm
now.
just saying that you can get that on-call one, and then you can get it, Adam go on calls
Yeah,
to
I
out
think
there. So
from the dialogue all the way around, you guys should sit back down and go, hey, look, we heard concerns about, right? And kind of build a better mousetrap and come back and have another conversation about it. And that may be the end result you guys come to is, hey, look, we want to do this one and this one on a trial, maybe just this one on a trial. But you've heard what I've heard is we've got concerns about other people in the vehicle. I think you guys need an opportunity to talk about that and what complications does that bring up? How do we use it other from home and work and back? Is it worthwhile to have it just on call as a trial? Do we try it in some other way? We talked about cash compensation versus vehicle compensation. That should be part of the dialogue also. So just all the different points that were discussed around the table, and then come back with hey, we have talked about it. We've heard the concerns. We've heard the concerns about teamwork and having enough vehicles and which vehicles are going to be used and what vehicles might be roadworthy enough to take or not. And here's what we propose. It's not a no. It's just hey, let's go work the bugs out of it.
There's a lot of valid questions, I think.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of stuff that, foresight, but we need some answers, and I think that gives us a chance to
Yeah.
talk,
Go work
move
it through.
forward, and see what happens.
I think a trial run at some point is not the worst idea either.
But I would think we would need a policy in place before we would do a trial run.
Agreed.
As far as who could, the basics. You can
Yeah.
only take this to and from the village, or nobody's
Yeah.
allowed in it. Yeah.
And I think what we have here is a really good start. I don't know who wrote this. Did you write this?
I think it's just a boilerplate.
Yeah, I mean, you have in there no unauthorized persons, so we would have to define who's an authorized person. And to me, that's a member of the DPW only. It,
Right.
it wouldn't be any personal, any family members. So that would be like a definition that I would add.
Yeah.
When the vehicles need to be back, I would add that. Maybe which vehicles.
So are you suggesting we craft that policy before we do a trial run? And if
Yeah.
a trial run is useless,
Absolutely.
we just crafted a policy for something we're not doing.
That's okay. At least they know the parameters. They,
Right.
They could
Right.
say, "Well, I didn't sign
And then
anything
if
that
they
says."
feel the parameters need to change, they'll come back and this
Sure.
committee is gonna adjust that policy?
It would
Yeah.
be part of the trial run.
Okay.
And we're not
After-
saying that this is something we're saying, yes, we're going to agree
Right.
to. It's just that,
How do you answer the questions in a written way?
so.
Yeah, if you have a question, you go home tonight, you think of something, you just email me and we'll.
Right. Wipe that calendar
R.
clean, folks.
Whoops.
Working on
HU.
policy this year.
HUENING
I think that's
at Waterford WI.org.
a good litmus test for the policy, which is if you have a question, does
What's
the
gonna
policy
happen?
address it or
You know
not?
what I mean? The change.
Right? And
It will.
you keep
So-
working on the policy until you get to a
Be
point
able
where
to
you
change
don't
it.
have any
You're
more
already ahead.
questions.
Sure.
I got a question.
Yeah.
Before you guys have to go through the process of doing a policy, can you guys do a temporary operating order that's agreed to with certain parameters, so you're not creating policy, putting in place, oh hey, I gotta change this policy, gotta change it. Is there a way of almost like an agreement of operation contract, if you will, that you can just kind of write up a SERP?
I think they're
And then-
both gonna get you to the same place with the same documentation. So
Okay.
when you call it a policy or a contract or a operating agreement or whatever, it's gonna have the same basic content in it.
Understood.
So you gotta work through whatever it is. So ultimately, here's where this goes from here. The general public will discuss what was discussed tonight, and I bet you whatever sum of money you'd like to bet, there will be somebody that has an opinion about it,
And they'll post it.
and then they'll post it.
And that's fair.
Anonymously.
And
And
that's,
then
yeah, I was
there
gonna
will
say,
be-
maybe not that, but
And then there
I don't
will be
agree with
other
that
people
part.
that have opinions. By the way, the best part about that is we get to go read it, right? And then we get to take that into consideration when forming a policy.
Absolutely.
Right? So, okay, the public has these feelings about it. Cool. What do we want to do about that?
Well, I'll tell you what we're gonna do this year. We're gonna try something a little different, and as fast as you guys want to craft this, and as fast as people want to do stuff, I will go on record here. I've gone on record with everybody else. We will call a meeting as often as we need to call a meeting, and the individuals that can fit in their schedules show up, and the ones that can't. We've gotten away from trying to wait for another item to be added to a meeting or another item, and then all of a sudden 3 months go by, 5 months go by. It's very glaring in our fall process again that when we have something we need to address, we need to call the meeting and we need to address it. So my advice would be, as quickly as you guys want to try to get something done, go at it. Let Zeke know, let me know, and we will let Tammy know that we need to call another meeting here immediately. It is unfortunately what it is. If we want to try to get some things done that we keep talking about, have been sitting in a book, have been on an ordinance dusty shelf since 2011, let's actually try to get some of these things done. If schedules don't allow for people in these committees, they can ask to be, removed or go to a different committee. We can try again to find somebody else, but I think we owe it to you guys and every other entity that wants to do something to attempt to get those things done. That's my piece.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to